Well, the judge overseeing former President Trump's case issued a warning to the former president. Now, the justice there, according to the New York Times, telling Trump's lawyers to speak to Trump and those in his circle and tell them to, quote, refrain from making statements that are likely to incite violence or civil unrest. The judge, however, stopped short of issuing a gag order. But will Trump be able to contain himself? To discuss, I want to bring in Yahoo Finance, a senior columnist, Rick Newman. So, Rick, let's talk about this, because what we heard from Trump after that last night in a speech from Florida, he really seemed to resort to his old habits. So it doesn't seem like he's going to be able to really hold back much.
Oh, he railed against everybody last night, not just the prosecutors who have now filed these short charges in New York and the judge overseeing the case. He went after prosecutors who haven't even filed any charges against him yet, including the Fulton County District Attorney in Georgia and the federal special prosecutor who's looking into obstruction of justice. So Trump realizes that this web of legal investigations is tightening around him, and he's just attacking everybody. He called the federal prosecutor, Jack Smith, a lunatic. I mean, how far does he really want to go with this? He's basically taunting prosecutors who are now bringing muscular cases to court, including some cases that'll probably be more serious and more threatening to Trump than what we've seen in New York. So it's quite fascinating. I mean, he obviously thinks he wins every time he takes on authority. And I suppose he does win against his base. But my contention is that Trump is just turning off everybody else in the country except for his base. And I think it's becoming impossible for him to win a general election where he has to get some moderate voters and some swing voters. And I think it's going to get worse because his legal problems are going to get worse.
Yeah, Rick, to that point there, in terms of what we heard from the president last night, he was lashing out at everyone. We didn't really hear anything at all in terms of a 2024 campaign, what he wants to change, any sort of policies, what he would do to fight some of the inflation pressures, the cost issues that we are facing today.
Absolutely right. So if you support Trump for president in 2024, all you're going to hear about for the next almost 2 years is all of these prosecutions against Trump. And I realize at this point there's only one, but there are likely to be at least one or two other ones. And this litigation is going to go on throughout the presidential campaign in 2024. So Trump is going to be quite busy. He's not going to be having, policy meetings with experts and trying to develop campaign themes that stick and figure out how to counter Biden policies and stuff like this. He's going to be spending all of his time in court, strategizing about going to court, and then complaining about being in court. So if you're a Trump supporter in 2024, it means your whole universe is just going to become these lawsuits and prosecutions. And I would add that the next one coming up within a couple of weeks involves rape and defamation charges by the writer E. Jean Carroll. So I mean, how are they going to celebrate this one down at Mar-a-Lago if that doesn't go his way? It just gets more sordid and more complicated for Trump. And it's hard for me to imagine, aside from his base voters, why anybody would stick with him at this point.
I agree with you. It certainly could get much, much more complicated for him and his base. Rick Newman, thanks so much.